The 1960s brought more than the Beatles, Vietnam, and the Summer of Love. That seminal decade of change also saw the birth of the modern Renaissance Fair. Over the past 35 years, Renaissance fairs have sprung up in virtually every state in the U.S. and around the world. Those who aspire to a more medieval lifestyle had found a home. My introduction to Faire, as it is called, was courtesy my wife Kimberly.
I had been going myself for about 10 years, and if I hadn't taken Chris that spring of 1987, you wouldn't be watching this film.
In the summer of 2000, armed with cameras and crew, I set out to reveal why patrons, musicians, actors, and vendors by the thousands abandon their material lives for the weekend and seek out this ethereal realm to become what we call the keepers of the kingdom.
If the spirit is willing, a visitor at Faire can be transported back in time. With people surrounding you who are dedicated to celebrating the medieval lifestyle, it's easy to get caught up in the fun.
Halt! None may pass lest you answer my clever riddle. How many? How many? Well, how many? Come on, answer it.
4.
Damn it! How did you know that? I worked for months on that riddle. It was unsolvable. Sir, thou art either very lucky or very smart, and I'm betting I'm lucky.
With our disbelief properly suspended, we sought to learn more about the secrets of these fantasy villages and the happy souls who make them their home. For the most part, they welcomed us with open arms and good cheer. We made friends with many along the way and found that the principles of honor and chivalry to which they were dedicated truly defined who they were, at Faire or in their real life or mundane existence. Craving a time unfettered by global issues or advanced technologies, they flock to the meadows and woods which host fairs everywhere. By they, we mean the guests, professional patrons, actors, performers, craftspeople, vendors, the Rennies.
The people who make these events come alive.
The people we got to know.
Renaissance fairs got their start in 1962 when Ron and Phyllis Patterson decided to add a medieval element to the fledgling pleasure fair scheme.
They started in Southern California, they went to Northern California. From that point, about 5 years later, the festival started to spread east, and in the early 70s, they spread like wildfire. Minnesota, Chicago, Kansas City, Colorado, into Boston, down to Largo, Florida, Sarasota, Florida, and Texas, all over the place from there.
Why do you think they started a Ren Fair?
Phyllis Patterson had a children's commedia troupe called the Piccolo Playmakers, and she was looking for a venue for them. She wanted to start a medieval fair, and basically that was the reason she started the fair. I don't think she had any reason to expect that it would be so popular, but I think that the 60s was a time when people were looking for alternatives, and it turned out to be a perfect alternative venue for so many of the people that really didn't know what they wanted to do with their lives at that point.
Burn the village! No village, then burn! Take what you want, then burn!
Fair patrons are passionate about their annual chance to act out, and many answer only to the names of their alter egos. At Faire, their character is who they are.
On the other hand, performers and actors must carefully prepare for the task of convincing patrons they are the genuine Renaissance article. I gained enormous respect for these people for the work that goes into setting the stage for a season. It is not just a matter of buying a costume and showing up.
Except for lunch, maybe.
I learned that the weeks leading up to Faire are spent psyching up mentally and physically for the most interactive live theater available in our time.
You! What are you doing sitting there? Are you enjoying yourself? Well, why aren't you here enjoying yourself?
You could be seeing these.
I got a call. They said, "Would you like the job?" And in a moment of insanity, I said, "Sure." And so I've been here for 4 years since then.
I'm not known for good speaking, just excessive speaking. That's why I went into education. So, now let us begin. Hear ye, hear ye, hear ye. Welcome one and all to the village of Hawkwood. We are indeed pleased that you have arrived on this special festival day.
I teach at Azle High School. My specialty is history, and I do have fairly extensive work in that area, which does go along very well with this, because then I can talk about the history side as well as the performance of history side of the fair, even if our history is less official than creative. Hawkwood is a fantasy place. We encourage the fantasy aspect. We've got elves and fairies and trolls and hobgoblins and a big dragon named Yoko. Because of the mystical experience here, are a great magnetic source for time travelers. Strangely enough, members of the crew of the Enterprise have actually landed at Hawkwood. We also have the fairy godfather, who is the leader of the fairy mafioso.
Well, my name is Leonard Harris, and out here I am called Sir Dame Don Luigi Rebecchio, the fairy godfather.
Most medieval men wear a codpiece. Who wants a limp dead fish right today? When you can have a crab apiece instead of a codpiece. Crustaceans always stay hard.
Well, the fairy godfather is very godfatherish. He wishes, gives the wishes, he grants the wishes, he tells the fairy tales. He has a lot of fun with young and old.
And Jack, he says, "I'm going to seek my fortune." And that first year, everybody came up and said, "Godfather, you must have big balls to wear this costume." So the next year I got the balls. These are red hot balls.
And I am the fashion maven of the Hawkwood. As you'll see, everyone comes and looks at the fairy godfather.
There's just nothing quite like a 350-pound man in a pink tutu to keep you on your toes. And yet he's one of the kids' favorites. Children love to hear him tell his stories in his bad Italian accent. They've just never seen a 350-pound fairy with an Italian accent before, so they enjoy that a lot. I was a cast member the first year and developed a character that still performs called Lord Ulfric Flushing. Flushing has the fashion sense of a French fop. Lord Ulfric Flushing was a member of the royal court of Palantor, but had built up a sizable gambling debt and had this fondness for alcohol and women.
The throats of them their blokes, what sells bad beer to sailors? What sells bad beer to sailors?
We have a very strict rule about singing, and it is, if you can sing well, do so. If you can't, sing very loud.
Oh, Lord above, send down a dove with big...
So we have developed a loud singing ability.
And his hand will be shaking.
I have made some friends out here that I absolutely cherish. In fact, most of them I would rather spend time with than some of the members of my family. Several of the members of my family. I have been the lead shepherd of the finest group of teachers and performers that a person can work with.
I stop above the head by, hopefully a good foot at least, because you want to take on the idea that if somebody gets lost in the middle of the fight and they forget to raise their sword up, you don't want to hit them in the head as punishment for their crime.
All you gotta do is show up for tryouts and fall off a building or something, and it works out nice. We try to show you everything you need to know. It's just a matter of, if you have the guts to do it.
Try to stop it about a foot away, guys, not 2 inches. Pick out the guy who was sneaking up behind us. 2 inches is enough to scare the living daylights out of whoever you're fighting.
We teach grandparents. My mother is a grandmother now, and she's in the stunt show, and she does stage combat training as well. And so we teach from very old to very young, whoever wants to learn.
The last time I heard music like that, the Jericho was coming in that.
Okay, these are my nearest and dearest friends sitting out here, and the fact I get to get on stage and ham it up and play and hang out with all my friends and meet new ones and stuff keeps me coming back.
That's right. Every good villain must have theme music.
I'm back up for Craig, and he has the 20-foot fall, and I got the 9-foot fall, which is just below that one. So I'm one of the few that he has that's actually stupid enough to do the stunts.
There's nothing like quite the rush of doing a live performance in front of an audience who's really into the show.
First time I actually started doing Ren Fairs is about '85. I've done fairs here, Kansas City, Michigan, Chicago, a few others. Kind of a little bit of everything.
The horniest man around.
That's an echo.
Echo!
Michael James, play Echo. He's a satyr out here, musician.
Morning.
I go around with big horns on my head and furry feet and walk like a satyr and just have lots of fun doing something completely different.
Morning.
My character, for example, is not human. He's a satyr, a mythical, magical creature.
Echo has arrived, horns and all.
Been doing Ren Fairs for about 7 seasons.
What other fairs have you been to?
Well, I've been performing down at Scarborough since '93, and I've visited and been invited to some other fairs as visiting performers, such as Kansas City and Texas Renaissance Festival.
Echo!
Michael, what got you into this?
It's been just a fascination with the time period, both with medieval and Renaissance movies, stories, fairy tales, and fantasies.
How did that develop, and at what age?
That will be attributed to my mother, who read lots of stories to me as a child.
That's right, folks. Throw up comedy juggling. Nothing goes better with a nice hot punch than throw up. So remember, right there at 11:30. You got it?
Renaissance fairs are the happy home to the last of what remains of the vaudeville circuit.
We're très chic.
To be sure, food, crafts, and the like can be had at many open-air fests nationally. But it is a talented cadre of touring acts that keep Ren Fair patrons coming back year after year.
I sing, I talk, and I tell filthy jokes. Lucendon crotch.
How long have you been doing this kind of thing?
About 7 years.
7 years. How did you get started?
Well, I'm an entertainer, and I was asked to audition at the Texas Renaissance Festival, and I did. 2 years later, I had my own show.
Wow.
So I'm fabulous. And I'm disgusting. Wait a minute. Maybe I perform for the camera.
Right there? Is that it?
There. See, it cools me off when you do things like that.
Okay, how about inside?
Okay.
We ran through a bunch of silly things, and all of a sudden my partner John said, or you could have 2 hulking executioners dancing to some silly English country garden type thing, and we all laughed, started to move on, and I said, wait a minute. I think we got something here. And put the costumes together, made our first appearance the next weekend, and moved on from there. In the middle 70s, we were doing a show at one of the theaters in Minneapolis, and the director of the Minnesota Fair saw us there and offered us a job. So we actually ended up being one of the few people who first stepped on a festival site with a contract. It was the first time we'd ever been to a festival, and we were contracted as entertainment. First year at the Minnesota Renaissance Festival, we worked with such people as Penn and Teller, Avner the Eccentric, the Flying Karamazov brothers.
Jugglers, sword swallowers, puppeteers, and mud wallowers all compete for audiences at Faire.
Mystery Day! Are you ready for a mystery day? Quickly! To see Billy Billy Bun Billy! Munch the balls, come on, get it! Beats the heck out of Pokemon, it really does!
From circus-raised vagabonds to mysterious dancers to college-educated preppies, as varied as the people who attend the fairs are the characters who perform at them.
This is my first trip to England. See, this is the Godfather.
I'm Gambucciano, Giovanni Giuseppe de Borgia. And if I like you, you may call me Godfather. If I don't, you can call it priest.
My name's Matt. And my name's Louis. And we do the throw-up comedy juggling show. We've been doing this now for what, about 11 years? 11 years. 11 years. 11 years. 11 years of juggling, and proud of it. We've been doing the Renaissance Festival for about 9. All right, now Berlin, step a little bit closer. You know you want to. Come on over. All right, turn around, face the front. Now Berlin, any minute now, my partner Louis is going to run. Oh no, not now. Not quite yet. Too soon? Yes, a little too soon.
What do you guys do during the week?
Sit around and try to think of funny stuff.
Yeah. I do that. I said intelligent question.
2 days on, 5 days off. It's great. We're not complaining.
So what is the difference between a Rennie audience and one at another venue, say Esther's?
The stupid clothes. Yeah, the clothes. Usually the level of intoxication. Yep. The kids. Yeah, the children laughing at the penis jokes. That's always fun at the Renaissance Festival. The main difference is that, you know, at a place like Esther's Follies, you know, a well-established comedy venue, people walk in and they're ready to be entertained. You know, they're ready to go. And here, you know, you've drawn people in, and they kind of get that attitude of, all right, entertain me, funny boy. Let's see what you can do. All right, now, Berlin, what I need you to do here, you and Louis, lock hands firmly. Here you go. Now, on the count of 3, Berlin, lift with us. You got that? Are you ready, Berlin? Are you ready, Louis? No. Shut up. Oh, wait, one quick favor before we start, though. Pull my finger. Here we go, Berlin, on 3, lift with us. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, up. Oh, wait, let go of his hand, Berlin. That's a bad idea.
Wait, Berlin, hang on, I'm coming in.
They got the friendliest people in Texas, don't they?
It's a great group of people.
It's their family.
It is. It's a community. You know, they know each other. We know each other. We see each other. You know, we cross. We don't all travel together, but as we travel, we cross paths, and it's great. You know, same people. Can you zoom in on that nose hair that's growing out of his nose? Okay, try to keep your hands on my nipples there, Berlin. 1, 2, 3, up.
Stand up.
I can't. I'm scared now. Forget it.
Don't be afraid. Push. No. Push, man. Push.
Louis, trust me. You do not want me to push right now, okay? That is the last thing you want.
Up in Boston, our number one fan, the Faire's number one fan up there, a woman named Loretta, who comes with her son and her daughter every single day. About 3 years ago, she came up to me and apologized. She said, I'm not going to be able to make it next Saturday. I just wanted you to know.
This is one of the best sword swallowers on earth.
For many of the performers, the Ren Fair circuit is just the next chapter of a life in progress. Case in point, Phoenix Blaze, a fire-eater sword swallower who escaped his preacher father's grip to join the grueling schedule of circus life.
Using skills he picked up during his stint with the Big Top, he established himself as a regular Ren Fair performer. If there is such a thing.
My father's a Methodist minister, and I left home when I was 14 and ran away with Ringley Brothers Barnum Bailey Circus. And I spent many years with the circus since then. I was raised actually by a clown.
Wisely, wisely, wisely.
Well, my dad's a preacher, so he's a clown by trade, but...
And how long have you been doing this at Ren Fair?
Oh, Ren Fairs I've been doing about 9 years now. 8.5 to 9 years I've been doing Renaissance festivals. Before that I was doing circuses and carnivals.
Is this more fun than the
Much
circus?
more fun. The people are so much better. The crowds are so much better. The owner, everything about the Renaissance Fair is better. I really like it. With the circus you move every day. With the Ren Fairs you move once a month, once every couple months. It's not as hard on you. 200 miles a day, every day for 8 months a year, it gets really, really tiring. You get up at the circus, you get up every morning at 4, you drive 200 miles, you set everything up, you do 2 shows, you tear it all down, you sleep for 3 hours, then you get back up in the morning and do it all again, 8 months a year, 7 days a week. Circus life is not easy. It really isn't.
Blaze was an interesting character, but we learned early on to stay away from his tip hat.
Oh, thank you, sir. Get your hands out of there, you little Scottish freak. Hey, you want to die today? Yeah. Really? Steal from me. Put your hands in my hat. This is my paycheck. Go put your hands in somebody else's hat. Get. Bye. Bye. I was with a circus that closed down halfway through their season, and what happened was I was on the way home to Florida, which is my home base. That's Florida in the known world. And I saw a sign that said Tennessee Renaissance Festival. And I said, oh, I've never been to a Renaissance Festival. I'll go to the Renaissance Festival. I go to the Renaissance Festival. I'm walking along. I see a gentleman doing a juggling act. He's juggling. It's okay. I keep walking. And he says, oh, I'm going to swallow a sword. I want to see this because I know how to swallow swords. He pulls out this little bitty dagger and shoves it down his throat. Then he takes his hat off and goes, thank you very much. That'll be $1 each. And I watched all these people put money in his hat. And I went, I think I have a new living. So I went home. And I got some of my old SEA costumes out, and there goes money. I got some of my old costumes out. I grabbed my swords, cleaned them all up, put together an act, made a video, and sent it out to the Ren Fairs, and I've been doing it ever since. It was just, I happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. That's kind of how I learned the swords, too, though. So.
Wow.
Well, I'm throwing away my paycheck, too. Please do not go home and play with fire. Always go to a neighbor's. I've been eating fire for so many years. There's so many things that I can do with it. I do teach it, and it takes about 5 weeks. This is a layer of insulation because this will burn before I will. Yeah. So a lot of people ask me how I can keep the mustache and the beard. Yeah. This will actually burn before my lips will, so it gives me a little extra protection. All right. But it's straight gasoline. It's like everything else, it takes practice. It's one of those things you just keep practicing it until you quit burning yourself. Cool. But after this many years, you get a voice like this.
Yeah?
Sword swallowing, fire eating, and disturbing behavior with an ice pick show for the young impressionable children. But wait, there's more. This is real. It's actually going 6.5 inches into my face. It's not going into the handle. But please do not go home and shove an ice pick up your nose.
There was an act at Texas Renaissance Festival a number of years ago that I could not believe had been hired. The fellow would lay 5 women down in a row and get on top of each one of them and do comic coupling for the crowd. That caught me a little bit off guard.
What are you looking at? Who is in there? Pixies! Really? Have you captured them? Really taking good care of them? Oberon has pixies hiding inside. Lucky!
Excellent! She's a pixie box. Hello, my darling!
A day at Faire is like Halloween. Creative people see it as a living showcase for their talent and imagination.
Why, indeed, what a lovely princess you are. Dressed so fine with roses all about. You must feel very pretty, yes?
Dedicated patrons spend years assembling the pieces that become their fantasy made real.
You will find many personalities who dress up just to pose and sign autographs most of the day. Surprisingly, many of them are not officially on cast. They do it for the sheer pleasure and the kick of knowing their creativity is appreciated.
My real name is Charles White. My real name is Soft Renault.
My real name is Robin White. My character name is Star.
My costumes have been built up for about 7 years. piece by piece here, piece there, because, you know, you can't afford everything all at once. We start out with one costume, then we add this to it next year, and add that to it next year.
There's people up here who come up mundane, not in costume. They like to come up here to see the odd and unusual, and we like to dress up to give them that. It's mainly about the people. Yeah.
Plus, the fact is that outside of costume, we're fairly shy people. In costume, we're not as shy.
My first year at the Texas Renaissance Festival was the second year they were open.
Wow, so it's been 24
I've been
years.
about 24 years, yes, sir.
What got you into it?
Stepping through a portal and going somewhere else and just being able to be somewhere and leave all your troubles behind. Just, you know, your mundane job, your mundane relationships, come out here and just enjoy. The origin of my costume and my character is that my father is the black dragon Acacia, and my mother was human. And my father met my mother at the time when dragons were just starting to be killed off by the humans. So they created me in the hopes of an understanding between the two species. You know, just the unique experience, parrots telling fortunes, you know, people running around with snakes, you know, it's just things you didn't see every day. It's like Halloween and Christmas all rolled up into one weekend, you know, it's great.
I am Smash. I have hammer. I can make tall problems small and small problems flat.
And the Dog Angel, guardian of the faith.
Wow, that is tremendous.
Thank you very much.
How long have you been doing this kind of work?
I've been playing at Faire for about 2.5 years.
Really? What got you into it?
The magic, the enchantment, where the imagination and reality can become one.
I am Mara the Forest Fairy.
Mara the Forest Fairy.
Yes.
How long have you been going to fairs, Mara?
15 years.
15 years. How did you get started doing that?
I did it in Colorado at the Colorado Renaissance Festival first. And I've been doing Scarborough Fair, Texas Renaissance Festival, New Mexico, Arizona, Oklahoma, and Hotwood since it opened.
Okay, the big question.
Yes.
Why do you do this?
Because it's the only place you can be an idiot and nobody expects anything of it.
I am currently a 13th century French Norman, right before the Templars were persecuted.
Certainly for a lot of people, it's a world for them to escape into. They can go full bore, wear their costumes, become different people, and of course, as you know, there's a wide attraction for that.
Oh, then they fell on kissing more than they fell on.
What do you get out of this place?
A lot of camera pictures,
Huge ego.
fantasies, a huge ego. There's a series of books by an author named R.A. Salvatore, and he wrote what's called the Dark Elf Trilogy, and the main character is a renegade Dark Elf. And the Dark Elves, as a race, are evil and corrupt, but the main character has actually escaped that influence and is trying to live a life of honor and goodness, but he's being judged by the color of his skin. Taking your soul. He's evil.
Don't have a soul. How can you take what I don't have? I torture and tease and torment women and wee ones. What kind of soul could I have? You're in the forest of the Hawkwood. You meet all kinds.
Reagan, Lord Reagan, also known as King of the Fire Monkeys.
This character, is it based on some ancient lore? Or?
I loosely base it on the fact that the Mongols used to dress up in scary costumes when they'd ride into Chinese villages and raid. Otherwise, you know, they'd have to fight someone. If they just rode in, you know, looking like demons, people screamed, "Oh, look, scary demons," and ran away. You just made it a lot easier. Remove the helmet. It's all cowbone, some pyrite inlay, naturally faceted amethyst. I made up the alphabet myself because I got tired of trying to decide what kind of cool scriptic, runic alphabet to use. So I just made one up and used a bunch of quotes about death and stuff from a book of quotes. Plato's "Count ye no man happy till he die," to "Death is here, death is there, death is busy everywhere."
Are you guys here helping out on staff?
No, we're just visitors here.
So you know what they call leather, don't you? The medieval Jenny Craig. So that's right.
You're just packed in there.
That's right.
That's okay.
Don't get too close. It might just come out and scare everybody. So.
Wow. So what brings you all to these Ren fairs?
The unusualness, the history, the enjoyment, and the camaraderie, the vendors, the friendly vendors, just the attitude of everyone. So get out of the classroom, get out of the engineering suit, get out of the chemist lab coat, and get out there and put a little leather on, have a little fun.
Honor, chivalry, sportsmanship. Qualities like these that defined medieval times are being upheld today by an organization called the Society for Creative Anachronism, a group that fits right in at Faire.
The SCA has been around for about 35, 36 years. It's a society that tries to recreate the Middle Ages. It's attempting to create the Middle Ages as we would like them to have been, not necessarily as they were. The primary ideas in it are honor and chivalry. And doing a good job of research so that we can recreate it as best as possible. We try to learn the skills the way they do it. People that build outfits, go and do research. We build various pieces of armor, and we try to build them as close as we can within the limits of the tools we have today. We don't make hats using mercury the way the old hatters used to, because that's poisonous. There are things we don't put in our food because that's poisonous. We use sanitation from modern times, but generally we try to do things as they would be done at the time.
Founded in 1963, the SCA consists of men and women who enjoy researching and recreating pre-17th century Europe's crafts, sciences, arts, and traditions.
Well, I was in the military, and while stationed overseas in Germany, I saw a group of people in the park adjacent to my concern, in armor, exchanging blows, and I thought it was the greatest thing I'd ever seen. A couple guys were out there in tennis shoes and their medieval style armor and helmets that they had built, which were fairly accurate, but there was some rough edges on it. I thought that was really interesting. A few years down the road, I was at Fort Hood, Texas, and saw a similar group of people doing the same thing, and I've been playing for 12 years since then.
You know, most people when they grow up as their children, they go through that, I want to be a knight in armor and things like that, and I saw this and it was my opportunity to possibly be that. So I went and I started fighting, and having been in the military, I was not really adverse to people hitting me with sticks and things, so I got very involved and I enjoy it a lot.
We actually do not choreograph any of our fights. They are fighting as hard as we can fight, trying to win that particular battle.
It's a competitive sport.
But we've been doing it, as I said, for 30-some odd years, and we've learned how to do it without getting people hurt.
I'm wearing what would be worn by a 12th century crusader. The armor type, the helm, which is a great helm.
What we have is rattan wood, or bamboo rather, covered in duct tape. Though it's not steel, it still hurts. I've got black and blue legs.
I didn't see the guy come from behind you, man.
He got me from behind. I turned my back on him.
Oh, from the back.
No, it's a perfectly legal shot. They separated us. They did smarter.
And I told my team to take them out first.
They did smarter maneuvers. He went around, got my attention, and he did what he was supposed to do.
Where's the man that stuck it in, man? He was fighting, boy. He was getting down. He was on his knees, but he was giving you hell.
Thank you for sticking with me. I really needed that.
Although the Faire circuit and the SCA enjoy a certain inherent synergy, There is no formal agreement between the two.
I was as a young gentleman running around in a pair of sweatpants, tie-dye boots, and karate gi with a wooden sword, thinking I was Joe Samurai. I am currently Squire Sirkeef of Kirsten. He is my knight. Well, as with any knight, to be unchivalrous in any act as unbecoming. I've called the shots that were thrown on me on the mound, just as they would have been thrown during the Middle Ages, such in battle or in a tournament. If anyone was to ask me what is the purpose of my wearing armor and fighting, it would be that I am inspired by my lady. Because without her, I would have no desire to protect or to serve my kingdom.
Losing yourself at Faire. As a temporary escape from the ordinary duties we all endure, patrons at Faire forsake their roles in corporate America to immerse themselves in another world.
Unplugging, clocking out, turning off cell phones and pagers, the fairgrounds provide a stress-relieving escape. Rain or shine, hot or cold, they come, looking for the fantasy freedom that, once experienced, they cannot do without.
What do you do during the week? What's your mundane job?
I'm a sergeant at a correctional facility in Huntsville.
I work in landscaping.
I worked for Courtaulds Aerospace for 5 years.
The girl for what?
I'm a chemist. I'm a retail manager.
I work at Sonny Bryan's, the smokehouse.
I propagate evil upon the world. I'm a salesman. I sell magic contraptions to people so they can talk while walking around.
Basically rape, pillage, and burn, but also have a remodeling company in Austin, Texas.
A psychology major at Sam Houston State University. So it's like, oh wow, he's crazy.
I'm a paper fisher.
Now I move heavy office equipment.
I work as a secretary. Live there now. But I enjoy it.
I put people in jail.
I'm a veterinary technician during the week.
My mundane job, I'm a fireman.
I'm an import logistics technician for a worldwide freight organization. Scarborough, the Renaissance Fair, when I played King Henry VIII.
I'm a maintenance man, regional maintenance man.
How about you, miss?
I'm a housewife.
I'm a financial advisor.
I work in retail. I work for Lockheed Martin.
I graduated just this last year, class 2000. During the week, I work at a costume store.
Yeah, I'm tank building.
I teach at Azle High School.
Customer service rep for Excel.
I get to push around 476-pound drums all day. Woohoo!
And you do this on the weekends? What are you, crazy?
Yes. We're all crazy. Come on.
It's a lot of fun, too, to invite your coworkers to come out and see you in a very different role. I'm a project manager at a computer company.
9-to-5 type job. I'm a network administrator, actually.
I'm tech support for a large computer company.
I build websites for a living.
I own a software company.
I'm a computer geek.
Don't tell me your computer program. Are you serious? That's what everyone does.
A lot of us are computer people on cast here.
But at work, I'm one person, and at Faire, I am different. I can be what I want to be when I want to be it.
So you try to do this in normal society, and they send somebody in to give you some kind of a mental examination.
Fun-loving, friendly, and occasionally mischievous. The Rennies we hooked up with are true nomads.
Living day to day, moving from place to place, they always find a family at Faire who will accept them and their way of life.
Mundanes of society don't have to be affected by the fact that we don't like to live by their rules.
Yes, everyone wants to be a Rennie, and it's kind of interesting. There are great discussions about what exactly constitutes a Rennie. Amongst those people who tour, they figure, well, if you make your primary living for a period of a year or two, then you're a Rennie. Otherwise, you're an enthusiast.
It's just good people. In society, you have to deal with certain assholes, that you have to deal with. Out here, those people don't come out here. We don't let them out here. If they come out, we run you off. So don't come out with an attitude. Certain people with legal problems appreciate it. Not that I have any, of course. But, my ex-girlfriend called up and said, hey, Jerry Springer's wanting people for threesomes. Why don't we go on and say we did this? And we're like, well, if you really want to let everybody know about that, yeah. Got to go to Chicago for free and paid for us to go to the House of Blues until House of Blues said, look, you don't have any more money. You have to go. Because they gave us a certain credit card, and they said, here, eat, drink, whatever. So we did, and they said, look, you have to stop now. NBC's not that rich.
What is that? Is that a telescope? Is it some cunningly wrought optic of the Orient? One moment. Made in Japan. Yes, it is a cunningly wrought optic of the Orient. Huzzah for me. Sorry, I just had to.
There are a lot of what we call the Rennies that travel the circuit from one Renaissance fair to another, very much like modern-day gypsies. They don't usually have a place to go. They live out of their vehicles or camp out of tents. So in between the fairs, we'll put them up in our campgrounds, let them stay out here, and in exchange, they'll do a little work, put up fences, paint buildings, things like that.
This is the world that I prefer. I tell people, jokingly of course, but I tell people that one of these days I'm going to find the mundane in me, bring him out and kill him. I love this place better than I do the world that we live in on a day-to-day basis. Back in '89, my mother carried me to TRF. When I came across a group that was doing the saber swords and wearing the garb and that type of thing, I really got interested. From there, I followed on some of the Rennies on to Scarborough, and pretty soon we just became part of the show. And now I wouldn't have it any other way.
While Rennies function mostly as a community that inspires individuality, they are protective of their own, limiting their acceptance of others into the culture.
One good, healthy, strong male for sale.
Yeah, how did you get involved in this life?
I was born into it, kind of.
Yeah, your parents? Or?
No.
They are especially wary of religious types trying to save them.
Community. What got you interested in coming and videotaping like RLC? You guys aren't involved in any kind of church or anything.
I've never had a problem with any of the Rennies because they're just like normal people.
Gibberish. I know she was trying not to laugh when she said normal people.
My real name, I do not dare say because the beast is pointed at me. I'm Slander McPolk of Clan McPolk. If I had a hat, I'd bow with a hat. But I don't have a hat, so I'll use my sunglasses. Hi, how are you?
Wow, that's some fine dental work.
Not really, it's Rennie. Another downside to being a Rennie living on Faire site. No money. Bills are a bitch. I can't in here. This is my house.
Rennies all kind of click together.
So you were the oldest Rennies out here, huh?
One of them. Actually, that travels. Fair circuit.
So how long have you been doing that?
This is my 7th year. 7th year. I do 2 in Texas, Colorado, Minnesota, and Arizona. In 92, me and my brother Pyrus went to Scarborough, and we brought along dates, ditched them within an hour. We were getting too much fun flirting, and I was in the dressing room, about ready to try on some clothes, and one of the ladies that worked in the booth, this redhead, come in the booth and come in the dressing room with me. It's like, you need help with that? I'm like, yeah. So we're getting it on in the booth during the middle of a fair day. There's only like 3/4 of an inch plyboard between you and the rest of the patrons. And she invited me back to the campgrounds after the show was over. So I went back to the campgrounds and met a whole bunch of people, and everybody's like, you need to get on the fair. You fit right in. And it took 2 years in order for me to tie up all my loose ends, to quit my job, in order to pay all my bills. And I got on circuit, and I have not regretted it at all. Not at all.
And I went on the road in the last 3 years. I've been all over the country.
How did you get into it?
My family, my friends. It's good for some people, but not for everybody.
Everyone out here is your family. This is your family, baby.
Almost everyone out here is my family. You do get people from time to time. It's like any other community. You have theft, you have problems. You have to deal with them on a community basis. This is a beautiful place for a lot of very beautiful people. Right. If you got the heart for it, if you got the soul for it, it's not for anyone. It's not for everyone.
I am a wandering wizard. I am the Merlin.
What exactly are your duties during the? Do you just walk around and put spells on people, or do you have a specific?
Rarely put spells on people. I walk around and recite limericks, tell stories, dispense wisdom. Wisdom.
How long have you been working Ren Fairs and going to Ren Fairs?
Oh, going on about 25 years now.
25 years, and who got you interested in Ren Fairs?
I was a hippie on the streets of San Francisco.
Is that a fact?
Yes, my ship came in and I would not get out with it.
Most fairs provide campgrounds that enable hardcore patrons to stay overnight. On occasion, the spirit of the day evolves into revelry that lasts well into the night. But it didn't start out that way.
I'm pretty certain the first actual drum jam was in Minnesota in the 70s. They had an African dancing troupe that was working there, and right before closing they would put on a big show, and people started joining in because it was the end of the day. Shortly thereafter, other people started joining in with drums, and then the dance troupe was gone, but the drums remained, and the owners decided that it was an easy way of drawing people to the front of the site at the end of the day because people don't want to leave.
At night, they have hundreds of people, and they get together around a couple of drums. And then people start dancing to the drums, and then it goes to a couple of thousand out of the campgrounds. Wow, the likes you've never seen. And people are just all into it for hours.
This is a way of life.
Yeah.
This is medieval, recreated, and everybody's living that life.
Once the 70s were over, the hippies needed somewhere to go, and here they are, and this is the one place you will find the hippie philosophy alive and well.
A lot of people come out here, they try it, and they go home heartbroken because it's not for the weak.
Wow, yeah, that's awesome. How long have you been going to Ren fairs and doing this kind of thing?
Probably 5 years in a row now.
While actors, performers, and vendors provide the colorful backdrop in which to stage the fair, it is the patrons who enrich the scene.
Well, I came out here first as a bodyguard for a lady.
Yeah.
And she wanted to blend in, so we got costumes, and I ran into people with similar taste, and
here you are.
I've never left.
People who attend fair fall into two categories. Those that dress in ordinary street clothes, referred to as mundanes, and those patrons who dress in period garb. Unhindered by regulations imposed on the cast, these people are often more creative with their costuming, putting together vivid representations of fantasy.
Here, they look for an outlet from their everyday identities, reveling in the anonymity found in disguise. Occasionally, a cast-patron interaction can have unexpected results.
It's when you meet that witty and quick patron who's able to come back with something just as clever as what you're sending out. And quite often at that point we ask them to audition. No.
All right.
It's a secret fraternity.
And I love it, and you know what's really cool? Is you get to walk around and act like a moron and nobody cares.
I can be what I want to be when I want to be it. The fair is a whole different world, but this is a real-life fantasy you can live.
I've been coming to this Renaissance Festival since it opened. The original king and queen lived right across the street from my father.
And how did you find out about these? I mean, who brought you?
Friends.
Really?
Yeah.
And
Word of mouth.
And you just came and fell in love with it?
Fell in love with it and come every year.
Without
it gets
fail.
better and better.
We travel the world, and this is one of our favorite things to do.
How'd you get into it?
An ill-spent youth.
No, it's kind of fun being a professional patron. You don't have to. You don't have to be here every day. You just are.
From the curiosity seekers newly awakened to the world of Faire, to the professional patrons who operate as unofficial cast members, Renaissance fairs are a magnet for the fun-loving and adventurous.
The ladies, why are you bearing the company of such ill-dressed louts when we have the fine services of a costumer? Costumes to rent, costumes for hire, right this way. Costumes for the ill-prepared, disguises for the ill-fated, kilts for the dashing young men, sir. Costumes to rent. No finer
Renaissance fairs are an excellent opportunity for artists and craftsmen to showcase their diverse talents. The shops lining the paths at Faire offer eclectic, handcrafted merchandise.
I went to the Texas Renaissance Festival, and I went to put in my artwork to open a booth, but it was paintings since I wasn't face painting yet. And he said that we was 14th in line on a waiting list to get in the show, so I said, oh, and then my friend says, oh, but we're face painters. We were not, but we are now. 22 years, put my brush to the people.
Oh, this is Igor. He's 5. He's from Guatemala. He's a South American water dragon. He's a real dragon. He poses with you, and we do your pictures.
We do engraved glass, wood, corian, anodized metal. We use the finest of Merlin's magic.
Yeah, corian.
With a laser.
Ooh, corian.
Fish Bob runs the gaming booth over here, One Night Stand.
Yeah.
And, I mean, we understand he's supposed to be selling gaming supplies, but he has one chess set, and he plays it all day long.
I don't know if he ever
He has one bocce set, and he plays it all day long.
So I've asked him, ever you sell anything? Nope, I don't run interested in selling
He
anything.
don't care. He just out here.
But he does qualify as a vendor.
2 years ago, I walked out of a corporate world installing navigation systems that guide airplanes to in and out of the airports all around the world. I worked for a company called Airsys ATM. I decided that I just needed to quit traveling and came to do this. Now I travel in the States. When you're working on the navigation systems and you're dealing with the FAA and other foreign international agencies, it's sometimes quite frustrating. The FAA has very tight, stringent rules that they have to go by, which makes it safe for us to travel by aircraft. Unfortunately, sometimes the equipment doesn't want to cooperate as much as we would like, and the rules become a little difficult to abide to. The only one I have to make happy here is me.
And at the end of the day, your work is done.
Patrons with plenty of disposable income have an ample choice of items to take home with them. Reminders of their day spent in another time.
Retroactive family planning. Cures for headaches and hangovers, and yes, gentlemen, I can cure ugly.
Altogether, I've been doing this for 15 years. The last 4 have been full-time all year long on the road.
Wow, on the road, going from fair to fair.
I do 6 shows a year in 5 different states.
How do you like that?
I wouldn't have it any other way.
But I know you've heard that before. Have you?
Every weekend, somewhere in the world, imaginative people use medieval fantasy to escape the mundane. They seek anonymity and achieve acceptance.
They seek illumination and discover excitement.
Renaissance fairs cross all boundaries of class and race to draw out the adventurers in our souls.
Our friend Merlin, the Rennie actor, said it best.
This is where we come to life. This is where we live. And really everything that happens before or after is just simply waiting. Simply waiting.
Warming the earth, the sun doth rise anew as royalty mingles with wenches and rogues to feast in splendor as celebration ensues upon winding merchant-lined dusty roads. Knights raise cups among wizards and fairies as blacksmiths and soothsayers hawk their wares and mystical creatures romp and scurry whilst angels watch over in faithful prayer. In defying both place and time, they thrive to uphold honor, respect, and freedom, ensuring the chivalry stays alive, appointing them the keepers of the kingdom.
Thou art rude, the very thought that sent thy sickly sire slumming to the stinking slut that bore thee.
Is there some sort of a demon in there trying to steal my soul with this magical box? Well, I'll tell you, I'll not have it. I'd sooner cut your head in half than have you steal my soul with your magic box.
How long have you been doing this?
Table for one. Table for one. All right, I'm here. Oh, lovely. What do you need now?
Come down.
Yeah,
Thanks.
kind of like that.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll be paying. Did y'all videotape any of the drum jam last night?
Oh, yeah.
I never saw him get naked before till last night.
I mean, we've had like 300-pound belly dancers that everybody's just gone, you know, and people that have been missing their whole clothes, and people in togas who will, these people got kicked out. What does your bracelet stand for?
WWED. What would Elvis do?
Thank you.
He is stealing my soul! This man is an evil wizard. He is stealing my soul. Call for Merlin! Randy Merlin!
This personage hath been making mock of us and making us the gall and butt of her japeries and mockeries and jesting.
A roommate drugged me to a audition, and I haven't been able to find the exit yet.